Hey folks, this is Billy D. K.Y., the truth seeker that simplifies and demystifies. This is going to be UFC 106 predictions. The first fight will be Tito Ortiz versus Forrest Griffin. Basically, I am not interested in this fight, which brings up the question, what makes an interesting fight? And to me, an interesting fight has to reveal something. It has to reveal something about the fighters or something about the game or who's going to be the next champion, or it has to teach me some lesson about life. This fight's not going to do that. Basically, this fight all boils down to one thing, I think. Forrest Griffin has evolved more than Tito Ortiz. When they fought the first time, Tito was, pretty much at the end of his career. Forrest is just starting. And from that point, I don't think Tito's really fought anybody, and he's not really grown as far as I can see him growing. So I think he's probably actually went down a little bit, and I think Forrest has evolved. So I think it's probably going to wind up, Forrest is going to wind out eking a decision. That's what I think. So then I asked myself this question, how could Forrest win? I don't see Forrest knocking Tito out. Don't see that happening. I don't see Forrest submitting Tito. I think Tito is still too strong of a man to let Forrest Griffin put him in a submission. I don't even know if Tito's ever been submitted. And plus, Tito's bread and butter is ground and pound, so I don't see him submitting Tito Ortiz. I think he has to eke out a decision with a good plan. He's not going to outmuscle Tito. Then I asked myself the question, how could Tito Ortiz win the fight? Well, Tito could win by decision, getting on top of him, wrestling down, laying on top of him, pounding him. The second way I can see Tito winning this fight is ground and pounding Forrest Griffin into submission. That's the only two ways I see Ortiz winning it. So I see this being a 3-round war. I don't see any quick stoppages. Like I said, I could see Ortiz knocking Forrest out, given that Forrest has been knocked out several times if you pressure him. So, next thought. What could this fight tell us about these fighters? Well, I think we already know that neither one of these guys is ever going to be able to hold on to the belt for any length of time, even if they get the belt again. So I don't see us telling anything about their future careers as belt holders. Only thing I think this fight can really tell us is that Forrest has evolved more than Tito. I think that's pretty much it. The only way this fight can tell us any more than that, I believe, is if Forrest or Tito completely dominates the other person. I'm not talking about a luck knockout, a flash knockout, or something like that. I'm talking about comes in and just totally imposes their will on the other one. So I don't really see anything. Like I said, this fight's boring. I couldn't believe it was the main event. Maybe somebody else loves it. I don't know, but I don't. Anyway, the probability breakdown is going to be 60% chance of Forrest winning and a 40% chance of Ortiz winning. Like I say, I don't even know if I'll buy this card, but I'm still going to do the predictions. We'll have to see how I feel the night of the fight, what I'm going to do. Next fight, Josh Koscheck and Anthony Johnson. Rumble Johnson. This is an interesting fight. I am looking forward to this fight. Anthony Johnson he's a strong cat who's an up-and-comer. And I think this fight is interesting because it's going to tell us a lot about Anthony Johnson. Is Anthony going to be the next George St. Pierre? Maybe. I mean, the cat looks strong. And his essence is strong. And I think that boils into my next point. This fight all boils down to one thing. I think Anthony Johnson's essence is more than Josh Koscheck's. Josh Koscheck's got a lot of essence. However, I think Anthony's bigger. When I say essence, it's that mind, body, spirit, then the connections that go in between. If you want more than that, I've got a video out there called Your Essence. You can get a better grasp of what I mean by that. How Koscheck could win this fight? I don't see Koscheck knocking him out because this guy looks like he hits pretty damn hard. I don't see Koscheck submitting him because he don't submit guys. The only way he could potentially get it, I basically see him a decision. I think Anthony's too strong for him to beat him down. I just can't see Koscheck winning any other way than decision. Anthony how can Anthony win? I see Anthony could win on the feet with a knockout, potentially a ground and pound knockout, but I don't know. Holding Koscheck down and ground and pound, I don't see it. So I think Anthony's biggest thing he could do is knock Koscheck out on the feet. I don't think either one of these guys are great at submissions. I haven't seen Anthony enough to know. So anyway, things to consider. I don't know if Anthony can make weight because last time he came in at 176, and 6 pounds over is a lot. And I don't know if the guy's used to cutting or what, or not used to cutting. He may actually have to move up to 185, where I don't think he stands a whole lot of chance of being the champ there. I'm starting to question if Josh Koscheck still had the hunger to be the champ, which I think he knows he probably can't be, so I think there's a lot of talented guys, so I don't know. Something else to consider. Is Josh Koscheck a better wrestler? Like I said, Anthony Rumble Johnson, he has more essence in my opinion, so I'm not convinced that Koscheck is a better wrestler, however he could be. What could this fight tell us, which we've already pretty much talked about Anthony, what it's going to show about him. I don't see us telling much about Koscheck. I think we already know who Koscheck is, and that's just the way it is. He's just who he is. The probability breakdown, I'm going to give the fight to Anthony. I think there's a 60% chance that he'll win and 40% Koscheck will win. Next fight, Amir Sadallah versus Phil Baroni. This is an interesting fight. I think it's going to be an enjoyable fight to watch, even if it wasn't interesting. Because Phil Baroni always brings a lot of emotion and intensity to the fight. So, why I find this fight interesting is it's going to tell a lot about Amir Sadallah. I don't think it's going to tell us much about Phil Baroni at all. It's going to tell us, can Amir Sadallah handle Phil Baroni? And I think if he does handle Phil Baroni, it says a lot for Amir Sadallah. What weight are they fighting at again? White at 170. And I see this all boiling down to one thing. If Amir can weather the early emotional storm of Phil Baroni, I see Amir winning this fight. I think it's what it all boils down to. If he can handle that, I think he's got him. So I asked myself the question, how could Amir win the fight? I think Amir could knock Phil Baroni out. Maybe not at the beginning, but after Phil goes through his little storm, then I think Amir can knock him out. I can see Amir submitting him. That's probably what I see happening is Amir submitting him. I can see Amir winning the decision. So he can win anyway, basically, except for the early knockout. How Baroni could win. I basically see Baroni winning one way, basically a knockout. Standing on the feet early in the fight, knocking him out. Potentially a ground and pound knockout. If he gets a good punch, stand up and he finishes it. Basically a checkmate knockout. You've already hurt him on the feet and then you knock him out. Finish it out on the ground. Like I said, this is going to tell us, I already talked about that. Probability breakdown, 60% Amir, 40% Baroni. Karo Parisian versus Dustin Hazlett. I believe Dustin Hazlett was the guy that fought John Fitch, which I was really impressed with the way Dustin Hazlett fought that fight, if that's the same guy I'm thinking of. So, I don't think it's going to tell us much about Karo Parisian. I think Karo Parisian knows he's never going to be the champ. That's just the way it is. There's too many good fighters above him. Dustin Hazlett, on the other hand, I think it's going to tell us a lot about Dustin Hazlett. How is he going to handle all of Karo Parisian, which I'm starting to feel like Karo Parisian doesn't have all the essence or the spirit he used to have when he was younger. So, I think this all boils down to this. Dustin Hazlett is younger, hungrier, while Karo Parisian is feeling his age. I watched a video of Karo showing his judo online, and you can just tell when he got up, it was just like the pain was starting. He's starting to feel his age. He's starting to feel the pain of all the fights. So I see this being a good fight for Dustin. I think it's going to be a tough fight for him, but I think it's one he can win. And if he wins it, I think it bodes well for him for future moving up towards the title shot. How could Karo win? Karo could win anyway. I mean, he can win with an early knockout. He can win with submission, or he can win a decision. And I see it the same way with Dustin. I really think Dustin, I may be wrong in this, but I think Dustin can win this, knocking him out or submitting him. And obviously, I think he can win a decision too. So these guys are both sort of well-rounded fighters, and we're getting close to the end of 10 minutes, so I'm going to have to shut this down. Things to consider. I already said that. I'm going to give the edge to Dustin Hazelin at 55% and Carl Parisian at 45%. That's the time's running out on my 10 minutes, so I need to finish this up. I'm not for sure if I'm going to buy this fight or not because the only fight that I'm really interested in is the second fight of Josh Koscheck and Anthony Johnson. So if they do the prelims, I will still do a post fight on the prelims. So I'll just have to see on the night of the fight. I don't really have time to discuss the other remaining fights, which I wanted to say a little bit. And let's see. Real quick, I'm going to pick Marcus Davis over Ben Sanders. I'm going to pick Jake Rosenthal over Kendall Grove. And I'm going to pick George Staropoulos over Jason Dent. And if you wouldn't mind, please rate the video. And later, folks.